Salute, 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 salute. Because I think y'all know without a shadow of the doubt that the woman that is in the backstage is about to light Uncle Stu's platform on fire. Y'all could have been anywhere on these YouTube streets, but you came here tonight because you know that you need that positivity, you need that fire, you need the rain, and you came here to get it all. Ladies and gentlemen, as you know, this has been 3 months in the making, but she said she ain't worried about them GA brothers. Then she turned around and said, I ain't worried about you New York brothers. Oh, we got hot and heavy in here. Because I said, well, I'm part of the DMV. She said, I ain't worried about y'all neither. She says, because I bring the heat, the fire, and the smoke all together. Because I'm from the Detroit, and you better give it up and show that respect, ladies and gentlemen. All the way from Detroit, Spittin Fire.
Hey, what it do? What an introduction! Gosh, I feel like I'm getting an award. I'm getting an award. Thank you for the award. Thank you.
You know it, but everybody don't know this has been 3 whole months in the making.
3 months. It don't take that long. 3 months in the making to come over here. 3 months. Finally, we here.
We finally made it.
Yes, finally we here. I'm on the block with y'all now.
Look, and the sad part is I missed my Christmas present. Everybody don't know. I done missed I done put my biz in and lost my Christmas present.
Did you come to the Christmas party? You should have come to the Christmas party.
This was a hard Christmas.
Okay.
Lost my son.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that.
It's all right. So we was really, dealing with like all of the loss and the, trying to get through all the holidays.
I understand.
But we still kept it. One thing that I have learned, throughout this process is as you going through the pain, you still is a podcaster at the end of the day.
Yes.
And you still got to give the people what they want, which is the value. I felt as a man who is trying to represent the men and show that I got to show them how you go through that.
Right. I can only imagine.
And for me right now is teaching men how no longer to live in silence.
Right. Well, I think that men do that because these are these stipulations that they have to deal with. You know what I mean? Growing up as little boys, you know what I mean? And I think they have a trouble being voiceful, you know what I mean? And speaking their truth and expressing themselves. And I think that can be an issue, at some point. When you teach little boys and tell them you can't cry, you're not supposed to do this, you're not supposed to, all those manifests into other things, you know what I mean? As they become adult and crying is a human emotion and everyone does it,
So you grew up in Detroit?
Born and raised, no other place.
How was it growing up in Detroit?
Rough. There ain't no other way to explain it. Rough. I grew up off exit 9. I grew up off the Joy Road at exit. And I grew up there right outside of the projects. At the time, it was a project called the Herman Gardens. And around that area, I grew up around that area. And I've lived off over there on that side. And then that was the west side. And then when I became an adult, I lived on the east side. But, Detroit it's a beautiful city. It's a lot of things to do. There's a lot of misconceptions out there in the world that makes Detroit look like it's burnt down or whatever. But we have some very beautiful homes. They only show the bad part because I don't know. I don't want to play the race card, but I'm thinking because the population is highly African American or whatever. But that is changing because it's now becoming a mixed city. Mm-hmm. And but when I was coming up, it was pretty rough. You know what I mean? It was pretty rough. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those things where we were the murder capital of the world, and we was like that for a long time. And as a matter of fact, if you Google the 10 dangerous cities, even with all of the things that you hear about New York, or the stuff that you hear about Chicago, they still put Detroit as number one, and that's problematic for me because we have came a long way to change the image here in the city, the citizens in the city, and put in put money into the city and stuff like that, and to keep that stigma over us. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, it's rough. It can be a really dangerous city.
Would you say that you made it out in the sense of the coming from that social environment? Would you say you made it out, or would you say you're still, where you at? You kind of still there. And when I say still there, I want everybody to understand something. Being still somewhere doesn't mean you didn't progress as a person. Because again, I'm fully aware that you can be living. Most people don't even know they poor until they get out of their neighborhood anyway.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You are absolutely right. One of the things, I'm gonna answer your question in a second, but I want to say this. The reason why I'm mentioning this right now because of what you just said. My grandfather lived in a really worn down area, right? But he lived there for so many years, he would not move. Okay. He would not move forever. So everybody done moved on and moved, got their own place and stuff. And we come back into the area when he has holidays and stuff like that. And we will say, you want to move. We'll try to hit around to it. But when you try to hit around to it, when he was alive, he would just cut your hair off like, I ain't moving nowhere. You know what I mean? Finally, he ended up moving, right? Okay. He ended up moving. And he still owned that house he was in. So I guess he came back maybe like 6 months later to go over there and fix something because he had a tenant at the time when he was alive. And he was like, finally he looked at it from the point of where we seen it. Right. Because he had to move out of it for a while and then come back and visit it and was like, yeah, this is what you were living like. Right. You know what I mean? Because sometimes if you live there, you don't see what other people see. Right. You know what I mean? That's coming to visit you. And he was like, well, I should have moved a long time ago. We all just looked at him. We all just looked at him like, did he just say that? Like, so we've been trying to get you to move for 20 years and you wasn't even thinking about it. But it is. It's hard living in the city of Detroit. The crime rate is horrible, especially a lot of times for out-of-towners. You know what I mean? I try to tell people to stay, in where they are, or something like that, because it can be really bad. The one thing that makes it, I think, that's problematic for the city of Detroit is we have gang violence and stuff like everyone else, but there's so much, the population, there's so many people that they're individual criminals. You get what I'm saying? That's the most dangerous part. You can have a whole lot of gang members, you know what I mean, that's running in a pack. Right. But when you have a lot of people individually, criminals that's acting, that's when it becomes a problem.